This is lesson 3.6, creating a sunscreen. In this lesson, we will learn to use various modes of the Edit Subdivision tool to create a particular object. We will learn to combine subdivision services with 3D tools and commands to create an object. Let's get into Vectorworks. In this movie, we're going to create a sunscreen in this area, and I'm going to use that combination of solid modeling, add, subtract solids, and also the ability to quickly create the shape I want and then convert it. So I'm going to use that technique again. I'm going to make an object here, 900 millimeters deep, which is minus 36 inches, and about 20 feet long, which is 6 meters long, so 20 feet. Enter, enter. And now I can pull this up, and it's going to come up by 3 feet. Sorry, we need to make this come up by 3 meters, about 10 feet. I'm just getting my dimensions mixed up. And now I'm going to convert this. So I'm going to go modify, convert, and convert to subdivision. Now previously I used this iteration of 0. I'm going to change it to 3. Okay, and I've ended up with this shape. Now before I go too far, I'm going to use my crease edges, and I'm going to put it all back the way that I wanted it. So that shape, and this one I think is the last one I need to do. So I've got that in that form, and now what I need to do is to create some splits. I just move my screen, so there we are. So let's go back to our split mode, which is this one here. We're going to split about 75% down that way and about halfway down that way. And along here about 3/4, so I can actually type in 25%. Here I can type 33%, I think is what I need. And then along here 50%. I don't think that's perfect, but it's not so bad. Now I'm going to go back to my first mode, and I'm going to grab hold of this dot here, and I'm going to pull that out. And I should end up with a really soft, you can see there's a really soft little curve in there. This dot here goes in, and this dot comes out. So I'm going to pull all the dots out first. Hold down the back quote key to disable snapping, and this dot here also comes out. Now the dots that go in, you'll notice that when I click on the dot, it's actually rotated. I'm going to grab hold of this protractor, and I'm going to pull it up to the top dot there, and that'll give me a good spot, or at least it's rotated that. This one here, grab hold of that, rotate out to this dot. So now this is square to my object. So now I can push this in, hold down the back quote key again. Just got to get rid of that. Hold down the back quote key, push that in and click. This one here, grab hold of that, hold down the back quote key, push that in and click. So now what I should have is a series of really soft curves in there. It's a bit hard to see because of the sun, and I think I might need to pull some more of these out a bit more. So this one here, I'm going to pull that out a bit more. Now you notice that it's twisted quite a lot. This one here, it's not too bad. I'm going to pull it in this direction a bit more, hold down the back quote key, pull that out a bit more. This one here, I'll pull that out a bit more, and it's also pulling down. You notice I haven't bothered to twist it. So what does it look like now? It's looking a little bit lumpy. It's hard to tell in here because of the shape of it. Now what's the next thing I want to do? I want to create slots through here. Now it might be better if I turn the sun around so we could see it. So here's the time of the day here. Let's turn the sun, let's make it sometime early in the morning, I think. Let's make it 9. Which way does it go? How about that? Is that better? Let's just have a look at my view. Oh no, the sun's coming from the wrong direction. Oh, it's coming from that way. So let's do late in the afternoon, 1500. Now let's have a look. Can we see that a little bit more now? We'll make this 1400. And you can see there's some waves running through here now. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to create some rectangles through here. So I'm going to draw rectangles through here. I'm going to put a rectangle through there, and then I think that's far enough out, so I might need to pull some of these out further. We'll have a look. So I'll just pull this through to there, and what I need to do is extrude that. So I can go up to Model, choose Extrude, and what did we say it was? 10 feet. So 10 feet. There we are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take off 1/4 of an inch, because there's something I want to show you. So there's my first extrusion. I'm going to make a series of these. I'm going to use my Move by Points tool. Click. How far apart do I want them? How many copies? I got 20 copies. I need them to be reasonably close together. Okay. And I don't need the one on the end. So let's lose that one. And we'll select all of those objects. Let's look at this in 3D. And right click. So now we should be able to go Subtract Solids. And it should pick up my subdivision surface as my back object. Click OK, and there it is. It's created my sunshade. If I double click, I can go back inside these objects. I'm going to deselect my subdivision. I can change the height of this extrusion to 11 feet so that they're actually taller. Exit that, and now you can see I've just got this rather neat sunshade just to cut the sun out. Now, if I want to, I can also do other things to this, like I could slice it, or I can also go back and say this isn't just curvy enough. So let's double click on this. Let's select this object and my Edit Subdivision tool. Now it's difficult to see all those objects, so maybe it's going to be easier if I go back to here. If I go back to wireframe, I might be able to grab my points, that one there. Let's grab that one and we'll pull that one substantially out. So let's pull it all the way out. Exit my subdivision. There we are. And you can see it's updated my 3D model, which is kind of cool. So that's the end of this lesson. I just wanted you to see that you can play with these subdivision objects. You can actually use them quite effectively. We can make quite cool objects with it. I guess if you wanted to with the sunshade, if you really wanted to cut this as a three-dimensional object with a laser cutter or a 3D printer, we could export that as a 3D printer. But we could also do things like I've shown you previously. There's a tool called the contours. We could actually create contours through our model as well. Okay, so that's the end of the movie. I hope you've really enjoyed this section. I think it's such a fun thing to do, the 3D modeling. The next thing we do is to create a bus stop. We're going to render it. We're going to bring everything back together. So let's look forward to that. This is the end of lesson 3.6. In this lesson we learned to use various modes of the Edit Subdivision tool to create a particular object. We learned to combine subdivision surfaces with 3D tools and commands to create an object. This is the end of Module 3. In this module we learned the basic concepts of subdivision modeling. We learned how to choose the correct primitive starting shape. We learned to edit a subdivision model, and we learned to combine subdivision surfaces with other 3D tools and commands.